Welcome back. Today I hope to learn something from a few recent daily games on chess.com. I don't always learn from my mistakes because I don't always understand them, but I try to understand them and I try to learn from them, and that's what I'm going to do today. In this game, I resigned, and apparently I was ahead at the time. So that was a little embarrassing. Now, in a faster game like a rapid game or a blitz game, I would not have resigned. I would have played until they checkmated me, but daily games take, sometimes weeks or months, and if I think I'm behind, I don't keep going. So why did I think I was behind here? I'm actually ahead on material. I think it's because when my opponent pulled this knight back here, they have both their knights aimed at my g3 square, this pawn, not necessarily the pawn, but the square, and that is a fork, of course, of my rook and my queen. But Stockfish says I'm up plus 2.6. I am up 2 points of material. I got a bishop for a pawn at some point, so I definitely should have played on. Okay, well, backing up, I'm going to watch the eval bar and see how long I've been ahead. According to the eval bar, okay, that was a blunder. I was ahead before then, and when I played this, it went to even. But when my opponent shot that pawn forward, I'm now ahead. Taking the pawn was inaccurate, but it leaves me up. I'm still plus 2.4. And my opponent played their best move, which attacks my queen. I played queen to e4, which was among my best moves. I'm still up plus 2.3, and they took the pawn. Well, I couldn't figure out what to play here. I'm pretty sure I considered pushing this pawn, which, I assumed one of them would hop in. I would have to move my queen, I don't know where, and then they would have gotten my rook. I would have gotten the knight for it. Their knight still would have been in danger, and I assumed they would have hopped it out of danger. I'm not sure, but But then we would have been even if they had gone up that exchange, right? If they had taken the rook for the knight, and my pawns around my king would have been even more messed up than they were before. Okay, I don't know. I'm going to turn on the lines here and see. I had to play knight to e2. Oh, this knight over here. Really? Oh, that protects g3. Okay. And it says then they would have taken the bishop on b2, probably, and then I would have taken back, and they would have played e5 for some reason, even though I could just take it. Okay, let's say I had played knight to e2. I could play e5 now, and I would play c5. Well, if they played e5 now, then I couldn't take it. But if they took the bishop first, which is their best move, and I took back, which is my only move, then it says they would want to drop one of these knights back, not necessarily play e5. But I just want to see, if they played e5, why can't I take it? It says I need to play c5 or rook to e1. I guess if I take the pawn, they can move the rook over, just out of curiosity. Oh no, I'm still way ahead. But yes, they would move the rook over, and then I would just have to drop this back to c3. Oh, I wish it hadn't added all those to my move list, because now I don't remember what was the last move of the game. I think that was the last move of the game. All right, I shouldn't have resigned here. I should have seen that knight to e2 defends the pawn. Okay, well, I did learn something there, that maybe even in daily games, I shouldn't necessarily resign until I'm 100% certain that I've lost. And also, with this many pieces on the board, there's still the opportunity for my opponent to make mistakes. Even if I hadn't seen that and I had just played this instead and they had dropped this in here, I had moved my queen, it says to d3, which is here. It says then they would have played rook to d8. I don't know. They might have gone ahead and taken the rook. Oh, and it says my best move is just to move this rook over. I probably wouldn't have, though. Probably would have just come down some more and they would have taken here. No. Did I misread that? Bishop to d4 check here, and I would have to move my king. Oh, I'd be way behind. Yeah, I definitely would have lost that if I didn't find knight to e2. Okay, well, it is a daily game. I had a lot of time. I probably should have figured out a way that I could defend that pawn. Or if nothing else, move my queen someplace like this. It says that would have been really bad because they still could have checked me. I would have had to have moved out of check somewhere. I'm not sure where. Probably not there. Okay, no, I still would have lost. All right, okay. Let's go on to the next game. I skipped a couple of games where my opponent just made one or two moves and then timed out. I don't know why so many people do that in daily games. But in this one, my opponent resigned, and it definitely looks like they should have. I have all sorts of attacks going on here. It was their turn. I don't know what I would have played if I was them. It says king to b3 is probably their best move, and I would have played king to e7. I would not have. I would have taken their rook with my knight. But I'm just going to back up and see if there was any point at which I made a major error that I can learn from. Okay, it looks like I was ahead the whole game, and the reason was because my opponent made a ridiculous set of first moves. They opened with h4, which I almost never see, and at this point I had the chance to abort the game because I haven't made a move yet. But I decided to play on because I was pretty sure that's not incredibly dangerous. I don't know what the best move is here, but I played this c5 because I figured that prevents d4. If they had played the e-pawn here, I probably would have just gotten this knight out and tried to play a reverse English, except they've already got that pawn forward. And it looks a little bit like the Sicilian, except it's going to be called the Cadassa opening. I don't know if it would have transposed if they had played here. Yes, it would have transposed to the Sicilian defense if they had played e4 here. But they didn't play e4 here. They played h5. They just pushed this pawn again, which seemed a little ridiculous to me. I wasn't sure what to do about that. I thought if they went one more, I could just push my g-pawn and I have two pieces attacking that square. So I played knight to c6, and my opponent surprised me again by putting their rook out there. Well, now seemed like a great time to move my e-pawn because that rook's undefended. Also, it's developing, this pawn and taking more control of center squares. So when I played that, my opponent defended the rook with the g-pawn. And here I decided not to let their h-pawn go any further, so I played h6, and then they played their a-pawn, much like they had played their h-pawn, which also seemed ridiculous. So I got my bishop out and aimed it at that rook, and instead of going back, the rook just moved over one. Now here I wasn't sure if I should try to keep going after that rook, which is clearly misplaced, or if I should continue with development. Now I did want to get my knight out, but I saw that they're aimed at this pawn, so I put my bishop out here on g5, which keeps the rook from seeing this pawn. Stockfish wasn't really fond of that move, but I'm still way ahead because now I can get the knight out and the rook's under attack and the pawn's under attack, and the rook's running out of places to go. Instead of doing anything about that, they got the other rook out. And then I did the thing that I said with my knight, which attacks this rook. It can't go left or right because of the bishop. If it takes the bishop, it's going to get lost. If it goes over here, I'll get it with the knight. Goes over here, I'll get it with the pawn or the knight. If it goes over here, I'll get it with the knight, and their own pawn is in the way over there. So they only had one safe square to move it to, but they didn't. They played d4 instead, which allowed me to take the rook basically for free. And then my opponent traded off the bishops here. I thought I was doing pretty good, and apparently I was. I don't think I ever went below -4 for the rest of the game. So yeah, that really strange opening. And here it says my opponent's rated 925. They were not rated 925 during the game. Well, I can't figure out how to tell what they were rated when the game started. That's one thing about chess.com. It always puts the rating that was after the game, but I have my parameters set pretty close to my rating of the mid-1200s, so this person was within the upper 1100s to around 1300. When we played. And maybe the reason they're 925 now is because they keep playing the, the A and the H pawns and putting the rooks up there behind them. I don't know. Okay, well, it looks like I responded correctly to what they did. I'm going to go on to another game. In this one, I correctly resigned after 9 moves. I'm apparently down -2.5 already, and I'm going to back up and see where I made that mistake. I played the English opening, which I should be fairly familiar with, and normally I make it out past move 10 without any inaccuracies. So let's back up and see where the eval bar... Okay, we're about even here. In fact, I have a very slight advantage. So b4 was clearly a mistake. Okay, the problem with b4, I think, is obvious that they can just take it because I can't take back because my rook's undefended. I think the reason that I played it is because it looks like they're going to take here. Am I okay? No, I shouldn't have played the bishop either because they just would have taken that. And I didn't want to put the queen here because the bishop is in the way of that. If I put the queen here, well, then they just move the knight, and then I have to move the queen again. And if I move it over here, then the knight hops back in. So I guess I had to play bishop to d2 here. Let me check. Oh no, it says I had to castle here. Or play knight to h4, which goes after that bishop. Now it says if I'd played knight to h4, they just would have taken this. Well, probably. And when I took back, they would have taken with the queen. And then I would have blocked with the bishop, which incidentally defends my rook. Okay, but they would have gone up a pawn. But it says after I played the bishop there, they would have taken this pawn because this knight's not defending it anymore because I put it over on h4. Okay, so they would have been up 2 pawns, right? If I had played knight to h4 and they had taken here and I had taken back, they had taken and I had blocked with this, they would have gotten this pawn. And now they're 2 pawns ahead. I'm going to take the bishop and mess up their pawn structure a little bit and then castle. And I'm still ahead somehow, even though my opponent is up 2 pawns. And now they're going to be ready to castle. Okay, well, I don't understand that. Again, I do understand why what I played was a mistake because of what they did. So, see, I think I would have played bishop to d2 here. Now, would they have taken it? Yes, they would have taken it. And I would have taken with the knight, not my queen. Oh, see, I thought I would have taken with the queen here. What would have been bad about that? I mean, it would have been okay if I took with the queen. In either way, they would have played knight to d7. Not necessarily. It says if I took with the knight, they would have gotten the bishop out, not knight to d7. Okay, and I'm just ahead now. because now I can play b4, because now my rook is defended, or e4. Okay, I think I understand. I think I have to be willing to give up this bishop here for the knight, because in the English, this is the problematic bishop. It's the bishop that you have trouble getting out, and you always have to keep in mind that it's keeping you from defending the rook, which is what we found out here. Okay, got it. I have time to look at least one more game, so let's go do that. Well, I have no idea why I resigned in this game. I'm ahead a piece, but my opponent is up 3 pawns. Now, I thought I was behind because, well, if I just run away with this bishop and, avoiding this confrontation here, they're going to start pushing pawns. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? I just realized if they push the A pawn, I get the B one. And if they push the B one, I get the A one. Okay, so they can't push those 2 pawns. So, question, should I have just retreated? Because then they push this one. It's protected by that bishop over there. Then what do I do? And it's going to be protected here too. So should I have taken? I don't see, that's the thing. If I take this bishop, then the pawn's over here and it's going to be protected on the next square, and I don't have a dark squared bishop to keep it from getting to B8. And if I don't take that, they start pushing this pawn, and I guess I'm defending the promotion square, but then I'm not defending those anymore. And I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have just left it here. And so I think that's probably why I resigned, is because I couldn't think of a move that worked. I couldn't think of a move that kept me in this game. My king is way over here because I haven't had a chance to, to start bringing it yet. It's not going to get those pawns. And they can attack my knight at any time, and I have to drop it back. I don't even remember why it was up there now, but, it is. Okay, yeah, I still have no idea what I should have played here. I'm going to turn the lines back on, and it says I should play bishop to e5. Oh, and it says they're going to play a4. Well, that surprises me. I would have been down a little bit if I had taken here because, yes, they're going to take. And again, it says they're going to play a4. Wait, why wouldn't they push this one? Sorry. If I take here, they're going to take back, right? And then I'm going to get my knight closer to the center, and they're going to play a4. Why would they play a4? I'm just going to take the b pawn. Why wouldn't they push this? Because I can guard the promotion square with the knight. Oh, well, now they're not going to play a4. Okay, but back here, it says they would play a4. Wouldn't I just take their b pawn? Of course I would. And they're still ahead because they're going to play a5. 2 protected, connected, passed pawns. Well, one's protected, but they're both connected. I still have to play knight to d7. Did I read that wrong? I did read it wrong. I thought knight to d7 was at the top. I have to play bishop to c4, which is here, to keep the a pawn from going. And they're going to immediately threaten my bishop, which I'm going to take, and they're going to take back. And then I have to drop here. And it says they're going to bring their king now, but are they? Why wouldn't they push this? It says we'd be drawn if they played b7. Now, I do understand that they won't play a6 here, or shouldn't, because then I get this pawn and I'm guarding the other promotion square, and I think my king can get over there as fast as theirs can, maybe. But why wouldn't they play this one? Because I would get in front of it, and then I'm keeping that pawn from coming. But now they're going to bring their king. I have to bring mine. They're going to bring their king. I have to bring mine. They're going to keep coming, right? I have to keep coming. They're going to go to b5. Then I have to go to c7. Now are they going to push that? It says they are, and we're still drawn. But now I move my knight because my king's guarding the promotion square. But if I move my knight, won't they push? No, if they push that one, I'll take. Oh my goodness. And they can't come any closer because of my king and knight. If they push the a pawn, I get both of them with my king. And if they promote this one, I get it with either the knight or the king. I don't know. Maybe one of them's better, but wow. Okay, so here it said that was a miss. Before they played that, they actually were ahead if they had played b4 now. And I wouldn't have taken the a pawn. Well, hopefully, if any of you got into that situation, you would, end up with a draw. If I got into that situation, I still would have lost, and it would have taken another 3 or 4 weeks. So I just ended it, and I'm happy that I did. I think I made the right decision. I definitely need to learn more about how to stop all these extra pawns when my opponent has a bunch of extra pawns. It's one thing if I have a queen, that's a whole different story if you have a queen. You have a queen, you just go over here and check, and then when they get out of check, you take the pawn, and that might be a check too. And then it's pretty easy to check again and get the other pawn, and, you just wipe them out. Get them all off the board, and then if you want, you can throw your queen away and just march your own pawns down. It's easy, but this is not easy, and I'm not sure I'm capable of it. Maybe I will be someday, though, because I'm getting better. I'm saying that. I'm going to manifest it. I don't even believe in manifesting things, but I'm saying it because I'm trying. I'm saying it to remind my brain that I am trying to get better. I am going to learn these. I'm going to figure them out. No, I can't see 20 moves ahead, and I may never be able to, but I might figure out some of these principles one of these days. Hopefully, you're getting better at chess, too. Thank you for spending your time here, and I'll see you next time.